All right, so the recording is started. I'm here with John again, so say hi, John.
Hey everyone.
All right, so let's talk about the current situation and the kind of how that fits in with the larger long term picture, and then what we can do during this mentorship.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the curriculum notes on Google Docs. But yeah, current situation, just to recap, is been working a new job for the past 3 weeks now. And with the new job, it's been a little chaotic, but the purpose of the job is, just to get some income and just support the fam while I continue to work uh, on progressing overall as like software engineering and developing my skills and adding to my resume and contributing to the Agile Institute, all of those things. Um, I guess the job that I'm currently at, not directly IT related, but could have some good connections. I've already kind of made a couple of connections through this new work. Not maybe so much software development, but IT related connections that are in the defense space. So um, yeah, still kind of connected to the opportunities that I'm looking for, where a lot of my background is defense, federal government, um, having those connections in this job will hopefully be an addition to my network and just being able to learn about additional opportunities and things like that. But yeah, so long term, still looking at trying to land software development role, um, probably in that same space. But yeah, the new job, the last few weeks, it's been kind of chaotic and honestly just haven't made much progress in the way of working on those IT related things and professional development and skill building stuff. Part of that's probably just because my schedule's kind of been all over the place with training. Um, I'm gonna be working second shift mostly, but um, my schedule with training is I've been working some second shift and some first shift, and so trying to identify some good times and opportunities to work on programming stuff and contribute and all that's been difficult, but I'm hoping in the next I just finished training, like all the training stuff. So for the most part, aside from next week, which they basically shifted my schedule to first shift, I should be getting more consistency, um, and be able to set aside like more specific times that should be available going forward. But yeah, that's kind of the background on current situation and what I'm looking to do right now.
Okay, can you tell me more about like why you have a preferred future that like diverges from this, because it sounds like you landed something that meets all your needs. Training was difficult. The shift changed quite a bit. You were on second shift for a while. I've done second shift before, and it just cuts into evening time in a way that I found kind of difficult to keep a good life balance. But training's over. You're moving into first shift. It covers all your needs. So like, what is it about what your present situation that where like a preferred future diverges from this to the level that you would feel the need to like put all this extra effort into these other things that we have in the now scope?
So are you saying why why my why I need or why I'm trying to reach a preferred future where I'm in a software development role and not just happy
Yeah,
with current
like
job situation?
yeah, like what is it about the different like what like why is this not, and maybe it is, you know, the preferred future, because this is a big shift, right? Like you went from looking for a job to getting one, and it seems like this is the preferred future. Is it not?
As far as like it is meeting like all the needs as far like financially it'll be um it would be fine continuing to do this particular role, but I the long-term goal was um to do something more along the lines of IT related, where right now it's security, more security related, but still in the same sector, defense industry. But yeah, I guess the answer to that is just that's since I um, well, even before I like retired from the military and things, I've always wanted to get back into an IT related role, and software development just was um, the most intriguing to me. And I know there's a lot of challenges related to the job search for that. Um, but I feel like long term, it's definitely doable. Um, I think with my background, though, there's maybe fewer opportunities locally in the defense space without, having to move somewhere out of state, which
Yeah.
is not my preferred future. So, I mean, I guess that's a tough one to answer. It's just um, my preferred future isn't much different other than just in the same sector maybe, but just in a IT related role like software development and not security, just because um, that would be more fulfilling to me personally.
Okay.
Does
All
that
right.
make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You're looking for fulfilling work, which yeah is something that I think most people are. I think there was a, you know, there's like scientific studies of like what makes people happy at work, and there's I'm sure like fulfillment was on there. Um, so uh, so yeah, so and it sounds like the current thing you have uh, does diverge a bit from that preferred future, in that it's not quite IT, it's security. Um, is it like at a computer? I mean, you don't have to give me all the specifics of everything, and please don't, because we're going to post this public on the internet. But like, I'm just trying to get more of a sense of like what your preferred future is, so that we can incubate, implement, celebrate, and
Yeah.
transform. Yeah.
So it's there. I mean, there is some aspect of using a computer, but it's not. It's more focused on security related tasks and not like building anything. And that's also like I know we talked a little bit last time about trying to figure out a time to work on things and maybe trying to do stuff at work so you don't have to shift your mindset um, to home things. But that definitely doesn't really it's not really feasible. But yeah, as far as computer stuff, I it's pretty limited on what what I'm doing. It's pretty basic computer tasks
Okay,
that I'm
and
working.
why is your preferred future in the specific software development that is outlined in the now scope? Right now, you're working on a TypeScript online course. You're making contributions to a mentor hub. You're interested in React. What is it about those that make it a preferred future to something rather than like you have that clearance, you're associated with the Department of Defense through your experience as a veteran. Your current job is related to IT. Have you kind of looked at the full map that's out there? For example, Engineer Kit has the modules. Have you looked into like security or like things where you can get behind? And by security, I mean like security that integrates with a computer. Like for example, there is CISSP certification, Certified Ethical Hacker, Security Plus.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about that? And tell me kind of more about how that integrates into your preferred future.
Yeah, that's a great observation because I have been thinking more about that, and the more people I talk to in the defense space, um, they recommend a lot of security related certifications or courses and things. So the what I'm currently focused on, I do think is maybe more broadly um, like the React and TypeScript and all that. Um, uh, I would say it's more maybe more commonly used in like startups and um, just commercial businesses where I have been considering adding more security related things to it, especially if I'm gonna focus my job search on um, in the defense industry to at least show some security related experience or training. So yeah, I think there is, um, like you pointed out, maybe a little bit of divergence in that it's software development, but and there are opportunities with React and TypeScript and all those things that I've seen in the defense space, but I think there's more opportunities that are like security related. Um, so maybe expanding my um, training and professional development in those areas along with it. Um, as far as like software development, it might also, in, instead of solely focusing on JavaScript related programming, um, the defense space also seems to prefer um, there's like Python's I've seen Python things for like data science related things, and then more. like lower level languages, maybe C++ or C, um, maybe Java, which I've had a little exposure to. But yeah, I think those things might shift a little bit the more I focus in, because I don't have a specific job right now that I'm looking at where I could maybe narrow down everything to be like, these opportunities need X, Y, and Z. So that's what I would focus on. So I guess in the absence of having specific criteria, I've left it a little broad, but I I think uh, being that I've narrowed it down to mainly the defense industry, I think security related things would be good um, first starting point, because that's kind of a general requirement for a lot of government positions. And then as I, you know, get see more opportunities in a specific language, maybe, then focus on adding those languages.
Okay, so would it
But
be fair to say that kind of why you have a preferred future that looks a bit different than where you're going now, and the reason why something like React has and the kind of train you've been on as far as this self-learning, the reason why it looks a little bit different than something like going for security certs or something like that is because you might be looking for kind of a context shift. Could you talk about whether or not that's the case? Like, are you looking to maybe work in a different sort of environment, like a startup or something that's a bit different from like kind of a more militaristic, like Department of Defense sort of workplace?
I'm definitely open to that.
Okay.
And that's what I think the boot camp that I went through focused on. And I think because of that, that's why I've focused on that for so long, is, the curriculum that most boot camps focus on is JavaScript, React, or some
Oh,
other
okay.
similar front end library like, React, Vue, Angular, something like that. But that's why that was still been a focus. Um, and if web development is something I enjoy doing, so JavaScript is naturally a primary language for that. Um, but as I see more opportunities in the defense industry, that may shift maybe away from web development to just uh, software development in general, or some other type of development, or maybe even DevOps, or kind of a wide range of things instead of narrowing down on that one specific thing. But
Okay.
it's still, yeah, I in my job search, at least, it's been mainly focused on web development, and so JavaScript has been a primary skill for that. React is, the most popular front end for library for JavaScript. So that's just kind of the why it the background is currently why what it is.
Okay. And okay. So it sounds like um you so yeah, let's talk about incubation here. So these are all the ideas we're talking about. The ideas are what you're doing to create a preferred future. So you want to be more in a computer-based, IT-based role. I think remote was a big part of that. You know, kind of having the flexibility that computer-based roles provide. Yeah, so the ideas are in the now scope learning React. You went to the boot camp, that sort of thing. So these jobs that you're applying for, are they're related to the boot camp, but I kind of uh, would like you to maybe say more, just in like a minute or two, about where, you know, it sounded like this focus came from the boot camp you did, and it sounds like it's a little bit of a uh, degree off from where you've gone so far. So far you have military experience, you have a clearance, which is really hard to get. You have a job in security, and are kind of you have potential opportunities through the Department of Defense. So I guess this direction that you've got with the boot camp, is that really like, is continuing to go in that direction something you really thought about and like dedicated to, or like when it comes to other roles like a security focused full stack developer, a DevSecOps engineer, or like an application security developer? So like, for instance, roles that combine the best of both worlds, like some of the stuff you're working on with security, uh, with with uh, some of the stuff you're working on in software engineering. Like, here's a like, could you tell me more about like the direction of like where you're going, and like is that, like, what are some ideas you have um, for like where this direction came from? Like, did it come from the boot camp entirely, and like is it, are you going this way because it makes the most sense, or just because of what they told you in the boot camp? Like what are some ideas for like uh you know, where your best efforts are spent? Because I'm kind of getting the sense that you have a lot of opportunity when it comes to security focused software development, and you're kind of diverging away from that simply because the boot camp prepared you to do so. But the skills you learned in the boot camp would be applicable to your current trajectory as well. And it kind of sounds like your current trajectory isn't one that you're actively like really serious about trying to get away from. It sounds like something that you're more or less fairly happy with. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the most part. And I think I initially was just open to all sectors. I wasn't necessarily looking to stay within like the defense industry or anything like that. So I think that's why, at least initially, I was focused on any and all sectors. I wasn't necessarily excluding defense, but um, after being in the military for so long, you're more than open to consider, at least me, as open to considering other industries.
Okay.
But the job market as it is very competitive. So naturally, I started considering where are my strengths and where would I be like considered the most competitive. So that just kind of naturally drew me back to defense, uh, security related positions. And that wasn't quite what the boot camp prepared us for. But like you mentioned, there is still plenty of overlap and there are opportunities. They just maybe have slightly different focus and maybe a few other additional skills that weren't taught. So that's kind of, I I'm not opposed to also looking at industries outside of defense, but I guess the biggest reason is competitive, um, just being a competitive candidate and uh, being the biggest thing. So I'm as long as it's in that an IT position, I'm somewhat open still to like exactly what the job title may be. Although, software development would be my preferred. I'm not, I don't want to say no to looking at different opportunities, but I also don't want to like go too far down any rabbit hole, spend all my time
Yeah.
uh, trying to go for something very, very specific um, without the a high probability of it paying off.
Okay, so it sounds like a bit of a context shift, maybe a little bit outside of whatever military sorts of things look like. It could be really refreshing, and then also kind of having more broadly applicable skills is something you're looking for. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary.
Okay, and then so the first step to that. So could you tell me more about that?
Um, First step to my preferred future,
Yeah.
right? Again, I think what what we've what I've been talking about, focusing on JavaScript and React
Hmm.
will still be a net positive overall,
Okay.
and I don't see any big downside to continuing that. And also the contributions to Mentor Hub, the all of those, like working with a team, working on GitHub issues, pull requests, language and technologies aside, I think that will show good experience and um, evidence to job employers. So I would say that's still what I will continue to focus on. I also mentioned testing. I I've seen a lot of defense and other things. All it seems to be pretty across the board. Some type of experience with testing. So I I would basically wouldn't change much. I The one thing I would probably add would be looking at doing Security Plus, which would um, I have software development experience, but that's kind of like the baseline certification for a lot of different positions for a lot of different job titles. So that would probably be the new addition to expand some opportunities in at least the defense and maybe outside of it too. I mean, security is just a good skill to have regardless of the industry. That's my perspective. So
Okay. So what would you like to share with me next time?
next time, yeah. So I've thought a little bit about what I want to try to focus on here in the next couple weeks, and I think the biggest thing is still what we talked about a couple weeks ago, which was scheduling, um, trying to figure out a concrete schedule, um, and maybe trying to start small is the best thing. So actually having specific times, um, I'm going to try to set aside some time on my schedule right after this meeting, and then hopefully be able to give you an update next time, with how that's working, or if it tried it and didn't work, and just because I think that's going to be the key thing with having a full time job, is just finding a time that works and not getting stuck, um, without any progress.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like a great idea. And we talked about that last time, like hacking the worker mentality. So yeah, right after these sessions, if you got some time, you're hacking that mentality where uh, that you have during this session that you wouldn't have otherwise. So yeah, that sounds like a great plan. The last section is transformation. I feel like we kind of already uh, discussed that in some way. Could you just briefly talk about transformation and maybe some of the discoveries made on this call and kind of just summarize things?
Sure, yeah. I think what I've noticed is, um, that you should just always be looking for opportunities wherever you're at. Um, and it's okay to change some of your focus as those opportunities change too. Try to you don't have I don't necessarily need to be married to goals, if they don't if they no longer support my long term goals. And so just staying flexible, continue to look for opportunities, even though I'm not actively job searching, continue networking. All of those things are kind of the um, things I've starting to my observations.
All right, sounds great. So with that, we're on for 2 weeks. So yeah,
Yep.
I'll stop the recording and then we can stop the call.